Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video we've got three things to talk about. One of them is absolutely massive for late to end game players. So let's dive in. The first thing is we have, it's very small. On Sunday, I'd say this is the medium news, and then we've got a small bit of news from me. But yeah, on Sunday, the 22nd of February, there's going to be a champion training tournament where you can get a perfect soul for BASIM, Ibn Ishaq, and other valuable goodies. So yeah, leveling up champions, booking them, ranking them, ascending them, whatever. There's going to be 100 players in the tournament. If you take first place, you'll get BASIM's perfect soul. Now, if you're level 31 to 40, you get a 3-star soul, which is pretty worthless. If you're 41 to 60, you get a 4-star. That's okay. It's got crit damage and attack. I mean, it's pretty nice. Then 61 to 100 is the 5-star soul. He does like accuracy. He ignores resistance, but he still needs to build accuracy. So it's pretty damn good for him. And obviously making the soul better is that. You need to, again, there's minimum scores for each of these. 7,500 for the 3-star, 12,500 for 4-star, 15,000 for the 5-star. But yeah, it's for 96 hours. So, here's the thing. Nobody is going to want to do this. And that makes it a little better, but it's not a great event. So, BASIM, my take on BASIM, he is very good. He is above average, but he's not top tier. So, most players aren't going to want... So, first of all, nobody wants to grind champion training in the first place. But grinding champion training for a soul for a champion that you might never even use, you might not even ever get the champion, like if you didn't have him guaranteed. Like anyone who doesn't have the champion just straight up isn't doing this. Just don't do it. Very few people have the champion, and even of the people who have the champion, very few of them are actually like probably going, oh, I actually really want to use him. I want to get his soul. Let's go. I want to grind for 96 hours. Like 4 days of grinding champ training. I want to commit to that for his soul. So because nobody wants to do it, it does mean that you might be a player who's not like super end game, but is going, wow, I actually was able to pick up BASIM. He's actually very helpful for my account. I don't have that many champions with good souls. Oh, I can grind this champion training tournament. There's likely to be relatively low competition, and I might grab myself a 5-star soul for a champion and be kind of happy about it. So that is, I think, who this is good for. Very few people this is good for. But people for whom BASIM is actually going to be extremely helpful in Arena and even some PvE content. And you don't have many souls for champions. Again, the danger, of course, is you could just run into some big old Kraken who's like, LOL, I've got 100 legendary books. I'm just going to book everything because why not? That's the problem. It's always the risk with any tournament. You could always just run into a gigantic credit card and lose, and there's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, am I gonna go for this? No. No, I'm not doing it. No thanks, and I think most people won't. But yeah, well, let me put it like this, actually. I'll keep an eye on my group. If nobody is doing my group, I might just do the champ training tournament, get the 10k points or whatever for the rewards, whatever the points are for just the basic rewards. And then if nobody is pushing for the BASIM soul, yeah, I mean, maybe I'll try to just sneak in and snipe it. A lot of people might do that as well. You might see a ton of people hovering at like 10k points and being like, ooh, and then on the last day, suddenly a bunch of people dropping points, and you end up wasting a bunch of resources, leveling up champions that you don't need, or a soul for a champion that you won't use. So yeah, not too mad on that. Small bit of news, I have updated yesterday. I put out a video just for members because we had 2 videos yesterday and then 3 videos today. It's pretty crazy. I might do like another update video on this at some point, but I've updated my mythical tier list. It looks a bit like this. And, you know, there's a couple of changes that might happen with stuff. It's there. I think Arakoa is the spicy one. And this is something that, something that I think is more... I don't know. The tier list thing is fun, but it's the context that's more important. And at the moment, I'm sort of more focused on... I wanted to update the tier list, but I'm more interested in doing videos on the individual champions to give you more of an idea. So, like, for example, if you want to see why I think Arakoa is actually very good, I did a full deep dive showcase of her if you've got her to check it out. So that's sort of more of my goal. But yeah, that's sort of like that. Mercurial might mix things up a little bit. So, like, I was chatting to M. Fabian. You guys might know him from the community. I was chatting to him about it, and like one point he made, which I agree with completely, is for example, Nell right now massively benefits from being geared in Mercurial gear, but she's really, really, really bad against enemies who have Mercurial gear. So she's in an interesting spot where I think she's actually seen a power surge right now because she can get her into Mercurial gear, but then she's actually going to fall off as Mercurial gear becomes more commonplace. So sort of same thing with Commodus. He really benefits from Mercurial gear, but he's really bad against it. We might see some changes. I've also updated the legendary tier list. Lots of stuff in here, but like Predators jumped way up, etc. I've moved Leonardo up to S+. I think he belongs there. I actually think Noose might go down to S, funny enough. And yeah, you can see that some of the stuff. If you want to talk to me about any particular champions, I think the better thing to do is just come hang out one of the CVC streams. And I'm typically answering lots of questions back and forth, or chat with the community on my Discord or whatever. It's probably the best way to get, or if I've done videos on the champions recently, they're the best ways to get like up-to-date impressions and actually useful info on the champions, or check out the champion spotlights I write on hellhades.com. Right then, let's jump to the big news. So here we go, the big news. Again, really for late to end game players. Classic Arena, Platinum tier rewards rebalanced. Here we go. So, in the version 11.30, Classic Arena Platinum tier rewards for the top 500, top 20, and top 3 chests will see significant balance changes. Or significant balance change. I don't know. These chests will now contain accessories of epic, legendary, and mythical rarities, mythical artifacts, 12 new avatars, 4 per type of chest, and 2 new avatar frames for top 500 and top 20. So, how many of you watching is the top 3 chest relevant? Like, why is this a thing? Who is this relevant for? Like, let's be real. Are you going to compete with the guy who's spending like $5,000 to $10,000 every single month in the game? Come on, dude. Like, come on. I actually did push for Platinum the first time last week. I actually got like, I think, position 52 in Platinum, which really surprised me. I think getting into the top 500 for an end game player is doable. But I think for even a late game player, especially because it's going to be more popular now, it's basically impossible. So it's really like an end game thing. And I mean, to contest for top 20 or top 3, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, come on, let's be real. Let's be real. So unfortunately, a lot of this new stuff here is there for end game players who can sneak into the top 500, but forget about top 20 and top 3 chat. I mean, you know if you can get them. If you're right? And if you're going like, well, no, but I'm not sure. Maybe I can. You can't. You can't. You're not going to win. Right? I don't know. It depends. If you remortgage your house, yeah, sure. But, let's be real. If you're kind of like, maybe I could get top 20, you can't. You either know or you don't know. That's it. Simple as. These are the new frames. They're a bit shit. Let me tell. I mean, for something that is so egregiously pay to win, these frames are really shit. Let me be honest. They're nice frames actually. I like them. They're cool. They're nice. But these are like more general. This does not seem appropriate to me for the literal most pay to win content in the entire game. Just a bit weird. Like compare it to the frames that are the new frame right now. It's in this Sweethearts path, for example. Like look at this frame. This frame is so much more cool. And then the most pay-to-win frame in the whole game is this, bro. Get out of here. So, yeah, they're nice frames, but totally inappropriate for this. These are the avatars. Pretty cool selection. So I'm guessing that the 4 epics are top 500. That's how Plarium sees you. If you're one of the top 500 biggest spenders in the game, you're an epic champion. That's all you deserve. I think top 20 is going to be these legendaries. And then I think top 3 is... Top 3, like what a fucking joke, is gonna be these. I mean, they're really cool avatar frames. They're great. It's just the accessibility it's a bit laughable. Now, here we go. We've got the 2 gear set rebalances that I mean, guys, look at the 9-piece. 50% ignore defense, dude. Holy shit. All right, so swift parry and deflection sets are getting reworked. Both will become variable 9-piece sets with new bonuses. You can see the changes below. So swift parry, they're going to be, it used to be a 4-piece set. In fact, let's bring it up. So swift parry used to be 4-piece, did nothing at 1 to 3, only at 4, 18% speed, 30% crit damage, 50% unkillable when hit with a fatal hit. The new version, you get 15% crit damage at 1, 8% speed at 2, 15% crit damage at 3, 10% speed at 4, with a 50% chance of unkillable when receiving fatal damage from any damage source. So basically, up to the 4-piece set is exactly the same. Nothing has changed. I wonder if I actually am not 100% sure. Maybe someone in the comments can let me know. I'm actually not sure if it worked like this before from any damage source. So oftentimes, let's say a Seek Front passive, for example. Lots of passives don't trigger against things like poisons, bombs, etc. You could just kill people through cheat death passives and stuff like that. This seems to imply that, like, whatever, anything that will trigger can actually kill, will actually potentially trigger unkillable. So this could make it quite a reliable counter to things like bombs and whatever. So yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if this is how this particular set worked before, but certainly there are a lot of cheat death triggery type things in the game that don't trigger off any damage source. There are a bunch of damage sources, typically debuffs, that just bypass it. So that's interesting. Now, the new stuff. At 5-piece, you get 10% HP. At 6 pieces, enemy single target attacks do 15% less damage on the wearer. 7 is 15% HP, 8 is 10% speed, and then 9 is 50% ignore defense, dude. Oh my god. Holy shit. Okay. So, I think for most people, it's vaguely more useful. Like, you could throw on, I think the 1-piece accessory for a bit of crit damage is kind of nice. Like, if you get one little piece or like just a weapon to throw into your, alongside your 4-piece savage or 4-piece lethal, grab a bit of crit damage. Then maybe you've got, like, I don't know, a pinpoint shield and you've got a pinpoint ring or something. Like, you could throw that in. The 2-piece 8% speed's a bit lower. A lot of the 2 pieces are 10% speed, but it's close enough. So I think this stuff is kind of nice. So, like, mix and match, throw it in. It could be decent. The 4-piece is pretty much the same as it was before, but perhaps it works now off any damage source, so it's still decent. 5-piece and 6-piece, to me, seem kind of useless. And same thing with 7 and 8-piece. I just don't see anyone going in and building 5, 6, 7, or 8-piece. Like, single target attacks doing less damage. It doesn't seem that impressive to me. 15% less damage. When does that really make a difference? I don't know. So I don't think anyone's building the 5, 6, 7, or 8-piece. It literally is just maybe you get some accessories from Classic Arena, whatever, and you can throw them on to supplement some bonus stats for a bit of fun. But the 9-piece set is potentially massive. 50% ignore defense all the time. Now, the big set you are competing with is Merciless. Who has Merciless? Who do I have in Merciless? Here we go. So Merciless gives you 35% ignore defense. Now, you can combine that with 2 pieces of Cruel for 5% ignore defense. So you can get 40%. With this set, you can get 50%. Now, by losing out on Merciless, you're going to lose out on cooldown reduction on your abilities. You're going to be getting more speed from Merciless. You're going to be getting, I think the same crit damage. You're going to get the same amount of crit damage. You're going to get more speed, more HP percent. You're going to lose out on attack percent. And you're going to gain potentially 10% ignore defense over the previous highest thing you could build. This can be overkill, right? If you have area bonuses in particular, you can get up to, this one, 20% ignore defense in areas like Curse City. Most importantly, Hydra be a big one. Not for Arena, though. So yeah, and if you go over 100% ignore defense, it doesn't do anything. And you also have got champions who've got some inherent ignore defense as well in their kit. You've got the Helm Smasher Mastery. So one thing you could do with this, I build this set. If I've got an attack with 25% ignore defense, and then I trigger Helm Smasher, an additional 25% ignore defense, I can ignore 100% defense. You're going to do ridiculous damage. It might be a little bit overkill, I don't know. So we'll see. This one is potentially absolutely crazy. We'll have to see some damage calculations. This could be absolutely crazy. Now, the problem here is it's going to be extremely difficult to build this full 9-piece set. And I think it's one of the sets, it's actually a bit like Mercurial, where it's kind of like 9 pieces or bust. Like, it's just not that useful below 9 pieces. So yeah, I think it's decent at 1 to 4 pieces, similar to what it was before, but decent. And then it's potentially crazy at 9 pieces. But yeah, something that makes it a little less crazy is just how difficult, how long it's going to take you to get this, how difficult it is to get. And then, like, for PvE content, like, Merciless might often be enough if you combine it with a relic that's giving you ignore defense. But that being said, I mean, like, you could come in 50% ignore defense, and let's say you've got the Lens of Intangibility, another 10%. Now you're up to 60. Then you're getting an additional 15 plus 5, an additional 20. Now you're up to 80. You know? And then you trigger Helm Smasher. Someone without any ignore defense, with a 9-piece Swift Parry and a Lens of Intangibility, can be hitting over 100% ignore defense if they trigger Helm Smasher. It's spicy. Now, we also have the Deflection set rebalance, and this is important here. Important note, Swift Parry and Deflection accessories will not be craftable in the Forge, which is expected. You can't craft any accessories in the Forge. I believe the only way, it seems, to get these accessories, to get them for either Swift Parry or Deflection, is Platinum Arena and nowhere else. So yeah, this immediately means I think it's quite irrelevant. I think this is quite irrelevant for most people. You're just never going to get it. You know, it's the same as Stone Cleaver and Rebirth and, I don't know, a bunch of other sets in the game, or the Forge Pass sets. Like, for most people, you're never even going to see these sets. They might as well not exist. So that kind of sucks, to be honest. Yeah, it's a bit rough. But let's take a look at this one. So what is happening with Deflection? Old version of Deflection, just for context, was 20% HP, 20% defense, and a 25% chance to deflect 1 debuff onto the attacker, and it was a 4-piece set. The new version is this. 20 accuracy. Oh, it's a big change. Oh, wow. They've totally changed the stats. So 20 accuracy, 10% speed, 20 accuracy, 35% chance to deflect 1 debuff onto the attacker, and block debuffs for 1 turn on round start. 5 pieces, 10% speed. 6-piece, wearer deals bonus damage proportional to own accuracy, so 10 times their accuracy, to enemies that block debuffs from the wearer. Occurs once per skill. Now this, I think, is the important part. This damage can remove on-guard stacks. I'm pretty sure this means total guard, which is that new buff for Mercurial. We'll come back to that in a second. Let's just read the other bonuses. 20 accuracy at 7, 12% speed at 8, and then 9-piece. Enemies ignore 10% less defense for each active debuff placed by the owner. It's a 5% less defense for bosses. There we go. Let's go through it one by one. So it's basically pinpoint. The stat bonuses are basically pinpoint, which means it's extremely good. And actually, this is very valuable just to just mix in a couple of, like, a ring and a necklace. Really valuable. Again, the issue here is compared to Pinpoint, Pinpoint was farmable. This stuff is technically farmable, but top 500, like, it's super end game. So that's a bummer. But yeah, mixing in a couple of deflection pieces, even in your gear slots, can be quite valuable. Some accuracy, some speed, it's decent. You know, it's similar to perception gear in that sense. Yeah, it's good. These are good stats now. Way improved. Much better stats. The 4-piece is now significantly better. So it used to be a 25% chance to deflect a debuff with bad stats. Now, this is a very strong 4-piece set for Arena that you could combine with Stone Skin accessories, for example. But 35% chance to deflect debuffs onto the attackers at all times. That is lovely. Again, couple this with a Wand of Submission, and it's like all the crowd control is going. You got a 50-50 with the wand to deflect crowd control. Now you've got another 35% chance to deflect crowd control. Like, bloody hell, man. Like, any champions relying on crowd control effects are so dead. And then there's Mercurial these days as well. Like, they're so dead. They're so dead. But yeah, that's cool. But it's also could deflect bombs back. It could deflect poisons back. Lots of stuff. Again, if they've got Mercurial, if they have total guard, they'll obviously be immune, but that's pretty cool. And then block debuffs for 1 turn and round start. This becomes a very strong anti-bomb set. Like, enemy wants to go first and wants to bomb me. Great, I'm feeling really good about it. I'm protected, which is lovely. So that's pretty cool. Other sets can give you block debuffs for 2 turns, but I think the 35% permanent chance to deflect debuffs more than makes up for it. That's still really cool. So very nice. The 5-piece set is really good. Now, the 6-piece set. Bonus damage proportional to 10 times your accuracy. Let's say I've got 500 accuracy. I'm going to do 5,000 damage to enemies who block debuffs. It's not a lot of damage. At the super high end, you might have 1,000 accuracy. You do 10k damage. It's not a lot of damage. It's certainly enough to maybe make a difference. If you try to place multiple debuffs, it would be cool. But actually, never mind. It only applies once per skill. Still pretty interesting. This is pretty nuts on like a Nell. Or a Volcanos. Somebody that is potentially applying lots of debuffs. I think the key... So the damage is... It is fairly low. It's not crazy amounts of damage. However, the damage can remove total guard stacks. So this means if I come in and I don't know, like, who's a good debuffer for Arena? Let's say I come in with a Lazarius. Sure. And I AoE attack enemies, and then I try to place block buffs on enemies. This will now remove 2 total guard stacks if I build them in 6 pieces, is my understanding. I'll remove 1 total guard stack from the hit, but then because Mercurial set the total guard is going to prevent me placing block buffs, it should now trigger bonus damage that will remove a total guard stack. So now my Lazarius can remove 2 total guard stacks. This is massive, and you can achieve a 6-piece deflection set without needing to be in Platinum Arena at the end of the week. You can do it. You can build a 6-piece. This becomes very juicy for a lot of characters. So, for example, on poor old Armans, who's struggling terribly, he's an AoE attack that tries to stun. This will now, against people in Mercurial, it will remove 1 stack from the AoE attack, and then it will remove 1 stack from the stun, which is quite nice. So, brings him back a little bit, which is, I don't know, do we want Armans to come back? I don't know, but, you know, you get the gist. This is really nice. Really, really nice. So this is very, very good for any debuff-focused champions. And compared to Mercurial, where you're not getting any accuracy, this is giving you accuracy. So it's something that's worth considering for your fast debuff champions as a way. This is very strong. This is going to be huge. I think as time goes on over the next few months, you're going to see more and more and more people in Mercurial. It's a nightmare to deal with 9-piece Mercurial. This really helps. Mostly just at the start. I mean, one thing, for champions who don't attack but place debuffs, it gives them a way to remove Mercurial as well. So the enemy takes a turn, whatever, Hilvi takes a turn, she's got back 1 stack of total guard. It means that if I've got a champion who can place debuffs but they don't actually hit, that he'll still remove a total guard stack from her, which is really big. The 7 and the 8-piece are also strong as well. The 9-piece, enemies ignore less defense for each debuff placed by the owner. This doesn't, it's good. I mean, it's certainly, I'd say it's worth putting on, right? If you've built the 6-piece, getting 12% speed and getting this effect is pretty nice, but it's very difficult to do. I mean, yeah, this is a great effect, but for example, banner is going to be by far the hardest thing to get, by far the hardest. So if you've got a really good banner, this is brilliant. But if you've got a terrible banner, like you have to have an accuracy banner probably with loads of speed on it in this set. If you don't have that, you might be better off giving this up, or even giving up these things and going like, oh, I'll just throw on some pinpoint or some regular accessories or whatever instead. Might be too difficult. But I think this is a strong effect for Arena. Let's say, I think you could pretty commonly for a debuffer place 1 to 3 debuffs. So you're getting, 10 to 30%. Ignore defense reduction. Like, that's actually a huge survivability increase. It's actually very good. But debuffers in Arena they're relatively uncommon. You typically don't see a massive amount of debuffs. So yeah, I think this is potentially very good, but not crazy. And again, for bosses, there's not that many bosses that actually ignore defense. It's certainly very helpful if they do. It ups your survivability a lot. So yeah, I think the 9-piece is actually a very, very strong survivability boost, but it's going to be, much like Swift Parry, extremely difficult to actually build it. And for 99.99% of you watching, you're not going to ever be able to build this. Certainly not within the next few months. It's just not going to happen. So yeah, putting all this together, I think this is, for me, this is a swing and a miss. This is... The Platinum Arena upgrade, I think, is a big swing and a big miss. I think, I think it's just a bit of a farce, to be honest. That is irrelevant to almost everybody. I don't know. Like, I guess you could say, well, it's great that, you know, Plarium is creating custom content for people who are giving them tens of thousands of dollars a month, and like, there is a logic to that. But I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's a bit of a joke, to be honest. But I could see both sides. I think the Swift Parry is a bit disappointing. I think the 9-piece is crazy, but it's just insanely difficult to get, to the point where, is it even relevant? Probably not. For most people, probably not. But you're gonna see some stupid. I mean, I think this is fine as something for Krakens to play with. You know, whatever. This is a fun Kraken play tool. Get some crazy scores in PvE content, do some crazy stuff in Arena. That's cool. Let the Krakens play. I'm fine with that part. So that's fine, actually. Deflection set. I think the 6-piece is the biggest thing for most. I think the 4-piece and the 6-piece are actually extremely good, and this becomes something very, very juicy for you to consider for Arena. Now, you're giving up a lot to wear a 6-piece set. 4-piece set, you're not giving up that much. You could run Stone Skin with that 4-piece, and you're not giving up that much. And these might be interesting alternatives to Mercurial, and definitely an interesting counter to Mercurial as well. And it's nice to see something that people could actually run against Mercurial. That's cool. And also, like, the stat changes here are really positive as well. So I think Deflection is a big win. Yeah, I think 1 to 6 pieces of Deflection are all big win. Great win. Absolutely fantastic. Swift Parry's a bit, And yeah, there we go. And yeah, let me know what you think about all this stuff in the comments down below. But that's all I've got for you today. I think the big takeaway is start saving your Deflection. Deflection has seen a huge glow up. This is the big win. And this is something to watch. Like, imagine this on a Fabian. It's pretty nice, right? He can spam out debuffs pretty quick. So something definitely to watch out for. Deflection is a new big win set. Thanks for watching, everybody. I will catch you all next time. Goodbye.